10 Tips Bremen. Geographical classification and key data. The municipality and capital of the state-free Hanseatic city of Bremen, which is completely surrounded by the territory of Lower Saxony, currently has 557,000 inhabitants and is the 11th largest city in Germany. Bremen is located on both sides of the Weser River and only about 60 kilometers from its mouth in the North Sea. The urban area of Bremen, which is 38 kilometers long and 16 kilometers wide, is one of the 20 largest cities in Germany in terms of area. Bremen is 50 kilometers from Oldenburg, 110 kilometers from Hamburg and 120 kilometers from Hanover. Bremen is particularly well known nationally and internationally for its soccer club Werder Bremen, the Bremen Town Musicians, and for the Town Hall, which has been awarded the UNESCO World Heritage designation. Every year, especially in spring and summer, Bremen attracts thousands of culture-loving tourists, usually for a weekend. Tips for excursions and sightseeing. Since many tourists make only a short stopover in the Hanseatic city, it is advisable to develop some plans before the trip, what exactly you want to visit and experience during a stay in the northern German city. Among the most beautiful and interesting leisure activities and sites in Bremen are the Bremen Town Musicians. The Bremen Town Musicians are 4 fairy tale animals for which Bremen is known worldwide. The origins of the fairy tale lie in the Middle Ages and illustrate the importance of the weak, lower animals acting in solidarity in a group against the strong, heraldic animals in the past, for example, and the victory of the united weak against any form of domination. In the 19th century, the story around the Bremen Town Musicians was written down by the brothers Grimm. In the old town of Bremen, locals and tourists can find numerous monuments and representations that commemorate the Bremen Town Musicians. On the west side of the town hall, accessible by streetcar lines 2 and 3, interested visitors will find the most famous representation of the donkey, dog, cat and rooster in the entire city. The bronze sculpture was conceived in 1951 and was created by the artist Gerhard Marx. The town hall and the Roland statue. Particularly worth seeing in Bremen is also the Roland statue erected in 1404 in front of the town hall directly on the market square. The statue is considered a landmark of the city and has been a listed building since 1973. The clothing and hairstyle of the statue suggest that the figure is to be interpreted as a free man of chivalrous lifestyle. The sword raised by him symbolizes the city jurisdiction as a typical badge of the knight. The shield with the eagle emblem of the empire is to be interpreted as a sign of Bremen's long struggle for independence from the empire. In 2004, the Roland statue and the town hall were declared UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The Schnoor district. The oldest district of Bremen, the Schnoor, attracts countless tourists every year because it is a beautiful and listed part of the city, where even driving is prohibited. Artists, tradesmen and artisans have preserved their tradition, which has its origins in the Middle Ages, until today and live and work mainly in the Schnoor. The district scores with original small stores and an unbeatable experience gastronomy and is especially popular with families. Narrow streets lined with beautiful old buildings, as well as imaginative fountains and sculptures invite you to take long walks in this quarter where time seems to have stood still. Vegesack. Vegesack is one of the northernmost districts of Bremen. Almost 400 years ago, Germany's first artificial harbor was built in Vegesack. For a long time, the inhabitants of this district lived exclusively from fishing. Today, the district charms with the quaint Haven House, a fountain column and a bronze whale pine. In addition to the rather tranquil mementos of a bygone era, modern shopping and leisure centers have settled here in the last few years, representing Bremen's modern orientation. Thus, both culture and shopping enthusiasts get their money's worth in Vegesack. In addition, on the first weekend in June, the Vegesack Harbor Festival, known far beyond the city limits, takes place. In addition, a visit to the first German training ship, which is docked in the Lessem estuary in Vegesack, is worthwhile. For many years, the Merchant Navy trained apprentice sailors here before the ship was converted into an educational facility. The Böttcherstraße. Böttcherstraße is a street about 100 meters long in the old town of Bremen. Due to its unique architecture, the street is one of the most frequented by tourists in the city. Already the entrance of the street convinces with the golden facade relief, Der Lichtbringer, by the artist and sculptor Bernhard Hoeker. Böttcherstraße fascinates with a wide range of hotels, museums, artisan workshops, stores and restaurants and is guaranteed to leave no tourist wishes unfulfilled. The Schlachte. Right in the center of Bremen, within walking distance from the market square and the Bremen town musicians, this maritime mile is located directly on the Weser River. On this mile, tourists can relax and watch the ships, go on a ship or boat trip themselves, stroll, indulge in culinary delights or party. On Saturdays, the area also hosts a large antique and flea market, inviting visitors to stroll and haggle to their heart's content. When the weather is nice, the numerous terraces and beer gardens, which offer space for up to 2,000 people, invite locals and guests to linger. The culinary offer here is hard to beat. Guests are spoiled for choice between the typical Bremen beer or a Bavarian Mass. Especially when the weather is nice, many events take place at the mile. For example, every Saturday in the summer months is rung in with lively live music. The Overseas City. Since the beginning of the 2000s, the Overseas City has been under construction in the west of Bremen. The Overseas City is located only about 2 kilometers from the Schlachte Entertainment Mile and will in the future house a mix of apartments, commerce, offices, services, trade and logistics. Bremen's infrastructure has been specially adapted so that the Overseas City can be easily reached by car as well as by public transport. The project is sponsored by WFB Wirtschaftsförderung Bremen GmbH. With a total area of around 300 hectares, the Overseas City is one of the largest urban development projects in Europe and is also known throughout Europe for its major port renewal program. Further construction projects on this area speak for a gastronomic, cultural and leisure stronghold to be built in the near future. The Art Hall. Bremen's art gallery, which is within easy walking distance of the Old Town, regularly attracts guests from Germany and abroad to the Hanseatic city with a wide variety of exhibitions by nationally and internationally renowned artists. The art gallery's handsome building has been a listed building since 1977 and is therefore a real magnet even for tourists who are not necessarily interested in art. The website of the art gallery provides early and detailed information about the constantly changing exhibitions. The art gallery is also currently the only museum in Germany that has a large art collection of the 14th–21st century and is still privately owned. The range of museums. The Hanseatic city, like hardly any other German city, can boast an enormous number of museums and cultural institutions. These include, for example, the Universum Bremen. The building, which already looks imposing from the outside, houses around 300 exhibits in the Science Center there. A spacious outdoor area and constantly changing exhibitions perfectly round off the range of visits there. The Botanica Bremen is also well worth a visit. Guests can stroll through fascinating plant worlds here and take in the Asian way of life and architecture. A special highlight here is the large golden peace Buddha in the Japanese garden. The peace symbol was erected in Bremen on the initiative of the Dalai Lama. Explicitly, the figure is not to be considered a place of worship. After visiting the Botanica, we recommend a relaxing walk through the Rhododendron Park, through the Rose Garden and past the Japanese Garden. A real vacation feeling is guaranteed here. Space tour. For about 100 years, Bremen has been considered a center of science and the German city where the most research has been done on aeronautics and space travel. If you're interested in how the crew of the ISS communicates with Earth, or if you're dying to know how food and water get to the ISS space station, a visit to the visitor center at Airbus Defence and Space in Bremen is not to be missed. Here, guests can experience firsthand how the experts on the ground communicate with their colleagues in space and get lots of insider information from the friendly museum guides. The entire tour lasts about 2 hours and is offered every Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. The entrance fee for adults is around €18, pupils and students pay just under €15. There is also the opportunity to look over the shoulders of scientists in their daily work,